Welcome in everybody to the week 2 edition of Inside the Burrow. I'm your host Robbie Listella, joined by my friends Mike Birdman and Drew Shula for another edition of Owl Talk here on Inside the Burrow. Mike, Drew, how's it going? How's your week? How was your weekend? We haven't seen each other since Thursday. I haven't seen Mike in like a couple of weeks. So what's up, guys?
All good. All good. Looking forward to home game Saturday, man. Love it. Love it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe how quick. I feel like summer went by pretty fast. I have to admit.
Right.
For me, it did at least. I've been extremely busy.
I know it kind of flew by.
Yeah, it did. But I'm looking forward to it. We took one on the chin last week. Not as bad as most people probably think, but I think we're going to recover, and I think we're going to come out and have a good showing this week.
Yeah, Drew, how's it going?
Doing well. Super excited for this weekend. I don't know about you guys, but NFL being back too. But
yeah, there's game tonight, right?
Yeah,
I think, right?
All night.
Looking forward to Monday night. My team plays.
Not a Dolphins fan, Mike?
No, negative. I'm a Jets fan.
Ooh,
I'm a Jets fan. I know.
yeah, but
I honestly, on paper, they should win the Super Bowl.
Oh.
On paper.
Yeah. But yeah, excited for this Saturday. Super excited.
I know it's back in action. We're at home. Paradise. It's gonna be filled. Hopefully, I'm hoping it'll be a packed house. It's looking like it's filling out so far. Ticket wise, we'll see how they end up doing. But last week was the road show. We had two really fan showings. Drew was with the student crowd for his last year as a student at Irishman, and Mike was up at the alumni gathering. I guess that was at Meisner. So
yeah,
how was that, guys? How was the home rowdy fan base? I saw Coach Jacobs and crew were out at Meisner as well.
That's right. Coach joined me and Katie over at the where did he come to? American Social. For the first half of the game. It was a ton of fun. He had the whole family out there. I know he had a good time. We shared some drinks, had some good food. It was a good time. And shout out to all the alumni, man. They really showed out. They had over 100 people come out for the event that night. And it was great because there were awesome deals on food and drinks at both places. We started American Social and then went over to what's that one? The Art House. And then there was like an ice cream deal at Sloan's after the game. So it was awesome. And shout out to Katie and her staff over there at Alumni. I know I'm a little biased for my wife. I do love her dearly. And I know she works really hard and does a great job. So shout out Katie and the alumni staff for making that happen. It's important. It's important that I think local alumni and alumni all over the place have somewhere to go to watch and get together for games and events and things like that. It's an important thing to have that kind of tradition for a university.
100%.
Absolutely. I stopped I went with about 5 other guys. We went to the Irishman. I got there 5 minutes before. It's great, but could not get a table. So
no, it's packed.
Honestly, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You got to get there early.
Very, yeah, clearly. But yeah, we went to Miller's Ale House just to eat and watch the game. We saw a few student managers there, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
And then Delray Standard after to watch the end of the game. That's a good spot to watch a game. I like the TV setup there. So
yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So I was up in Michigan State. I like their setup, their tailgate setup up there. I mean, the FAU tailgate setup is kind of unrivaled with everything that goes on in that crazy atmosphere. So I'm a little biased, but MSU had a little nice big crowd in front of the stadium, which is the typical setup, and students showed out. They had to the rain kind of pushed things off a little bit. So the student line kind of wrapped around the stadium, which I thought it was good. I mean, that's what FAU saw last year. I mean, I don't think to that extent wrapping around the stadium, but for the first year of Herman era, the students showed out against Monmouth. So I want to see that carry over into this week too. First game of year 2 for Herman. So need that support. It's a big game. It's kind of like. I mean, these next couple of games for FAU are kind of, they're not the hardest, but if they get lackadaisical, things could happen. So, I I'm most happy though. Kind of, I heard through the grapevine that the student tailgate got moved back to the old lot, which I heard that was before my time. The last 4 years it's been across the street. So
Be as far away from the school as possible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
man.
now it's
They
right
didn't even
next.
have
Now
tailgates.
it's
So
right next
terrible.
door, Mike.
What's that?
It's right next door. They put it
It's
right next door.
it's right next door. And you know what? We didn't have tailgates like that when I was a student, and thank God we didn't. When I went to campus, when I went to college at FAU, my undergrad especially, we didn't have a stadium.
Yeah.
We had to drive like 25 minutes to where that soccer stadium is now, where Lockhart used to be, and that's where the high school stadium that FAU used to call home was. I think my first year we were still at Pro Player, actually, which was where the Dolphins play.
Yeah.
But man, we are really lucky to have that on-campus stadium, and the atmosphere for the tailgates is out of control. And I just wish that those students that do go there and have such a good time actually all went into the game, because that would make the game day atmosphere in the stadium even more fun. I know the players are out there playing for them, so I hope you guys who are listening, and you know what, if you're just going to the tailgate to drink and have a good time, you're not listening to this podcast, so forget you. From an alumni and from an alum and from someone who like sits across, from the student section, it would be awesome if those kids that were at the tailgate didn't just like walk down the breezeway back to their rooms to keep the party going and actually came into the stadium. I think that's what we really need, man. Like, I think that's important.
Drew's the man. He's the student delegate. Drew, what's the plan to get this new generation of freshmen into the stadium?
Well, weirdly enough, it's like everyone talks about the school growing. I remember my freshman orientation was just in the student union. They didn't have a whole lot going. They got the coaches to talk, but like no one was really interested. Now they got a drone show at the stadium.
I saw that.
So I'm jealous of them. These freshmen haven't made now. I mean, we got to see a Final Four, but ultimately, I think actually moving the lot closer to the stadium is going to help a little bit. I mean, the walk is, it's a good 10 feet now, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Mike's shaking his head.
I hope so. It's
maybe a little bit.
It's a little rowdy. I mean, if they didn't party as hard, maybe they'd have some energy left to go into the game. Like, I mean, that's the whole point of being there on a Saturday is the football game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm a traditionalist. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know, but there's a football game going on, and you wouldn't be drinking in the parking lot if it wasn't for that. So,
yeah,
maybe go to the game. I don't know. I could complain about that all day. I
agree.
I think it's really sad that that they just walk home or don't go to the game. It's probably 50-50, honestly. Tons of people outside, and if all those people went in, the stadium I think would look full and be really, really loud. So,
I agree.
That's just me.
Yeah, I completely agree. But Robbie, I've been recruiting section 124. What I am worried about is I got first row every single game last year because the attendance just plummeted in the student section. I'm a little worried. Some people are going to take the first row, but I'll leave early to make sure to secure it. But we've been recruiting out in 124, so just watch out.
Nice.
Yeah, gotta get
section 103. I've been season ticket holder with my wife since stadium opened. Section 103, row 1, seats 7 and 8, or row A, seats 7 and 8. But we're right behind the defensive bench, so when we watch, we're leaning over the railing, or feel like we're in the huddle, which is pretty cool. And when Kiffin was the coach, the offense was on that side, which was cool too, because he was always over there, like doing his Kiffin stuff. So.
The one thing with the AAC, they moved the student section back a row. You used to be right up against the players there, and now they got a little bit of protection. So
everyone got soft.
Yeah, right. I heard some things when I was in the student section there, so I see why they do it. But
soft.
It's still that's college. I mean, you know what? If you're how are they going to go play at in the Death Valley at LSU, wherever these crazy environments can't take?
There's no rules like that. Yeah, there's no rules like that at Clemson or wherever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Going on, and the football game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the home opener is always good vibes. I feel like,
It
everyone's
is.
still kind of optimistic. I feel that the FAU the South Florida, the fan base of any sports can be volatile at times. And this is like the point right now where like trends can be set and like, FAU goes out and has a good game this week and the fans go, it carries into next week. So the home opener is important. I'm trying to think. Going back my last 4 years, Charlotte was in 2022. That was a good that was a good home opener. I think they won that one like 40-10 or something like that. That's the type of game that this season, if they're able to replicate, it'll be big. We'll see if they can put up those 40 points though. That's to be seen. But I'm trying to think anything off you guys off the top of your head stand out for memories from the first week.
Yeah. Mine mine goes back a long way. My my I can't remember who we played, to be honest, but I remember going down to Lockhart. I think for the first time in my life, when I must have been like a freshman or my first year or second year at I don't remember. It's a long time ago, but I remember driving down to Lockhart for opening day and getting there with some guys who ended up being my fraternity brothers at the end of over the course of the next few years. And I remember the gravel parking lot, and I remember this guy. His name's Jose Herrera. He was cooking a pig on a spit for like 10 people. Like he had this whole pig like turning, and that memory has like stood the test of time for FAU football for me, because I remember looking around and not seeing anybody at a football game, and we had Howard Schnellenberger as our coach, and it was probably 2005 or 2006. I don't even know if you guys were born yet. But if you were, you were really young, I'm sure. But it was just like an incredible time. It was like a coming of age time for FAU football. And whenever I think back on memories of FAU and I look at where we are now, I always remember the times where we had like just really, really basic stuff, and getting people to games was a challenge because it was so far away from the campus, and the people who did go were like such a tight knit community. And I just remember I remember those people and the smells and just talking, and just the whole thing. I mean, game day back then, it was totally different than it was now. People like we didn't have a student tailgate section. The only game where a lot of people went to was like homecoming, and they only went because we like gave out prizes and had like contests and events and made a big deal about it with t-shirts and stuff like that. So I mean, even though our stadium right now is like a third full on average, right? I mean, visually, when you look, I don't know the numbers offhand, and whatever, it doesn't matter to me because we're going to go to the games regardless. But when I look around and I see the stadium and how it is now, I can't help but think of how much better it is now. Even with like the 5-win seasons, it's still so much better than it was in 2007 when we won a conference championship and went to the New Orleans Bowl and beat Memphis in the New Orleans Bowl. And, that was awesome. I was there. That was great. That was like one of the best times of my life at that moment. But now just seeing like the stadium and little kids excited to go to an FAU game, and like they see the players walk by and they're like, oh my God, they want autographs from like no-name college players, which is awesome. Like, I mean, that's incredible to me. To see that, and the stadium and the campus and how beautiful it is just makes everything so like legit and real. And I just love that. And I think the people like my age and the people who like came up through FAU and have been fans, and they made it like generational, like they're bringing their kids now. And I think those are the people who like really appreciate it. And they kind of help made it what it is today. So I think about all those things on opening day, and I really do. And, I know Katie's at work right now, like getting ready for this tailgate she's having on Saturday at the Alumni Center. And, you're all invited, of course. You don't have to be an alum to come and join like the air conditioned tailgate, which is always really good. It's those things, just watching her and her staff kind of like get in game mode, I call it, and they're all running around planning and trying to get everything just perfect for everybody. That's when I know it's game time. And I know I probably went off on some crazy tangent, but there's so much.
Right.
FAU football. There's so many years of it now, and it's changed so much. It's just kind of like this incredible thing to watch grow, and that's kind of like my feelings on opening day.
Yeah. No, yeah. The sense of community is huge. I don't know about you, Drew.
Yeah, no, I've noticed. Yeah, it is. But my story is just a little completely different.
I'm sure it is.
If you guys remember, 2021. So our first game, we lost to Florida. I made the trip with our friend Toby at FAU Owl's Nest. He covers baseball. So me and him, we took the free student bus there and back. So we lost to Florida, but our first home game was against Georgia Southern, and we whooped them. Their head coach was Chad Lunsford, who's on the staff now for FAU. But I just remember I was like, oh my gosh, it's so damn hot, because it was one of those noon kickoffs we'll talk about.
Here it comes.
Yeah, we'll talk about those noon kickoffs. I was like, dude, I think I'm pretty good at staying in the heat, but like, dude, I'm like about to pass out. No, I was not ready. As a northerner coming to Florida.
It bakes out there. You're from New Jersey.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where are you from in New Jersey?
Bergen County.
I'm from Bergen County. So I was born in Hackensack.
I'm Hasbrook Heights. We're neighbors.
My mother grew up on Collins Avenue in Hasbrook Heights, right off the boulevard. Yeah,
I know where that is. Yep.
Yep. I used to get my hair cut at Jerry's barbershop there.
Oh my gosh, I think
the little red car, right?
Yeah.
Did you get your hair cut there?
I think he ran out of business.
He went out of business. He retired. Yeah. Anyway, small world.
Yeah, no, very small world.
Lodi Pizza, right?
Lodi Pizza's, that's a spot right there.
Best spot, yeah, best spot in Jersey. Maybe one day you'll be cool like us, Robbie. Probably not.
No Jersey connections for me. The FAU pipeline to the Northeast is getting big. Philly, New York, New Jersey. That's where a big portion of the new biggest classes are coming from. So
yeah,
not surprised with the connections. But Drew, you mentioned that Heat 12 p.m. This week. I was just looking. That Georgia Southern game was 3:30. So if you were hot then, this one's gonna be even hotter. So yeah, 12 p.m. high noon. It's kind of good from the sense that that they'll get to avoid the afternoon showers for the most part. It still should be brutally sunny. It'll be real sunny when it kicks off, but the rain may hold off, which is good. Yeah, and so Army's wearing those all black uniforms. I'm not sure what FAU is going to wear yet. I don't think they'll wear the sand back to back, but we'll see. I don't know those black uniforms for Army. That's FAU's week 2 opponent. Those. I mean, people were saying, they're armed servicemen. They're not going to be affected by the heat. That may be true. They may be more adapt to the heat, but they'll still feel the heat. And I mean, they can. I mean, no, this is more than enough respect to the servicemen, but heat affects anybody. Like
they're wearing sand on Saturday. I just confirmed it. So
sand. They are live on the air. They're wearing sand. There it is. There you go.
That's how quick the bird game operates.
Yeah, no, but I like those sand uniforms, and they're also not like all black, and so that'll kind of keep them. I don't know necessarily how much the uniforms matter more than it's going to be hot. I mean, FAU
it doesn't matter honestly, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. White, black, it's going to feel like the same.
Yeah, both sides are going to be hot, and it's just going to come down to who's got that more wherewithal in them. And Army, that just because they're from West Point doesn't mean they can't take the heat. So they're going to come ready. I think Army is definitely FAU's quietly kind of riding that 4-game home win streak since they lost to UCF. Their 4-game home win streak. They lost to UCF in 2019, and so. This is kind of the first real tough test at home since that game. So we'll see if they can kind of keep pushing it forward. Army, though, they're not a pushover at all. They have a veteran head coach coming in. They bulldozed Lehigh week 1. I mean, that's an FCS, but still they looked good. They ran it about 100 times. For I think 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. So
did they throw any passes? I didn't honestly. I didn't look at the stats against Lehigh. I don't really.
They threw 8 passes.
They threw 8 passes, so that's 8 more than they usually throw. I doubt with our corners that they're going to be testing that as much against us as they would Lehigh.
Prediction.
What do you guys think about the triple option offense? What's the baseline thoughts on it?
Big deal.
Drew, what do you think about it?
I think it's just it's there's a reason they do it. It really simplifies things where you could kind of just rely on just brute athleticism and strength, and it's like a lot of just football in general. You want to be able to do different things really well. That's what the best offenses do. They'll never have the best offense, but
No,
they'll be able to do it really well.
they'll never have like the speed because they can't recruit like a school like FAU or like any of these other like the non-military institution schools recruit. They're just not going to have like those fast receivers or those flashy people. They're just going to ground and pound, which is what we've seen them been doing for years. So when you say a triple option, big deal. Like we know what they're going to do. Like we should be 100% ready to stop the run every single play and have guys ready to just ground and pound them back and keep them from moving the ball 3 yards every run. And that's how you beat Army, right? Like that's it. That's the game plan. Stop the run. It's coming, and just have your corner ready for like 2 passes.
Yeah, I think that I think FAU's definitely got a little bit of a strength in this game. They've got solid linebackers.
Yeah.
The front seven the whole front seven had a good game versus Michigan State, which they probably have a better offensive line than Army does. So that's really intriguing. And also FAU's defensive backs came down and they tackled well as well in the run game, and they've got especially Bugs Brown. He had a big game in the tackle game. I'm trying to think. Day Hill had a couple tackles as well. Jaden, all those guys were coming down and stopping the run. So I think them contributing will be huge. With Army, they've got a couple guys though who are really athletic. Their quarterback Bryson Daly had a couple touchdowns in that opening game. They've got a guy who played wide receiver last year with them when they still had some passing side in their offense. The gun, they had Noah Short, and he took on a little bit more of a rushing role in this first game. Had like 80-something yards, and so they also have Kanye Udo in the backfield. So they've all of those guys. All 3 of those guys are really athletic. They've got and they're smart. They from what at least against Lehigh. I don't know if there were more open holes to choose from against Lehigh, but they knew where to go, which route to take, and I think that's that Army side of it. They know it's a machine. They know what plays they need to or which direction they need to go, where exactly they need to go.
Like, it's the same every year. Come on, how many times do you have to watch Army to know what they're going to do? Like
exactly. So it's like, but on the same thing,
it wins games. It beats people sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just don't feel worried about this game. Like after seeing our defense stand up against Michigan State like they did last week, they were awesome. Yeah. Our defense is awesome. Like they were so good last week. Like, and honestly, if we didn't give up that safety, I feel like that game was totally winnable. We had 2 chances to win that game at the end against the Big Ten school on the road. Like, and why did we have that chance? Because our defense was awesome. They were awesome. They huge improvement from last year. I know, I was talking to one of my friends who works with the program, and we were kind of discussing it, and the first thing I said was, man, the defense was awesome, and if we can get some O-line, the offense is going to be awesome too. And I understand that the O-line, it's just the hardest. I feel like it's the hardest position to recruit at our level.
And right? Play. Like, it's tough.
It's the hardest position to recruit. And I'm not saying we don't have like good players. We probably do. I just, maybe they haven't played long enough together yet. I don't know. But to get those dudes, there's just not a lot of them out there. Like how many 6'4", 300-pound guys that could also run fast are like out there that could play O-line? There's not that many. So the ones that are there and are good enough to be like good O-linemen, they're going to Georgia and everywhere else. So, like it's slim pickings for O-line. There's tons of fast guys that could catch the ball, right? That are kind of tall and have that build. But O-line, I think, is the position that's probably the hardest to recruit. If they can get it together, I feel like we'll be awesome. Like we really you could see that like the pieces are there and they're starting to like align together in a way where I think that once they settle in, they're going to be able to play really, really well together. And I think we'll be impressed.
I think that's that first game. It's going to be the same thing with basketball too. It's all about gelling, getting the pieces to click. It may not happen right away in that first game, but give it some time. Trust the coaching. That's the one thing with both football and basketball at FAU that when in this whole portal era where you're bringing in new rosters every year, it's going to come down to the coaching you have and getting the new players that you have to gel. And I think FAU really has strong coaches that'll be able to do that on both sides of the key. But kind of going over to FAU though, you mentioned the offensive line play is something that needs to improve in this game. Drew, is there something else that kind of stands out to you off on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's passing, wasn't working, even the run game wasn't working at some time. So what to you does FAU need to do in this game offensively to improve?
Wide receivers get open. That's number one for me. We can place blame on the quarterback. That's going to happen all the time. Not saying Cam was awesome, but if his receivers got open a lot more, I think he would have been much, much better. So that's one. You want to move the ball. Your receivers got to get open. That's a gimme because they're not. Our receivers are small too. They're smaller than usual. We don't really have many guys above 6'3". Most guys are honestly below 6 foot. So that's one for me. But two, you got to establish the run game. Our running backs did the best with the push they got, but it's really tough to have a good offense when the Michigan State D-line was bullying our offensive line. So we need to create push in the run game. Our receivers need to get open, and that's where I think people will start seeing the Cam Fancher that maybe they expected a little bit more out of than what he showed against Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State defensive line, they definitely had a good game, but that's probably one of the bigger strengths of that team. That's what had some carryover. Their defensive backs did not. And so you're right. The receivers definitely do need to work on separation a little bit. I think that'll come with more time though. Less that Cam has to scramble, it'll give receivers more time in their routes. So I think this week against an Army defensive line that maybe isn't as talented as that Michigan State defensive line, I think we'll see more time in the pocket. We'll see more routes develop, and we'll see a little bit more of the offense that we thought the team was going to have, and not just a scramble drill where there's a fire alarm running in the background.
Kind of felt like he was running for his life a lot. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have to say this: we got homered, and I know I put it on Twitter. We got homered bad in the fourth quarter. That was a targeting that should have been 30 yards. We had so many opportunities to win that game on the road.
I don't know if I've ever seen by the ruling that was the correct call, but I don't know if I've ever seen that get overturned in that way. But I've also
Garbage.
That may have been the most I've ever seen a quarterback kind of go crazy back there like that in recent memory, like running the ball. I'm trying to think. I don't watch a ton of these option teams, so I don't necessarily see a lot of the games where the quarterback is running as much as Cam did. So that's where the ref probably at some point also tried to go against the rule book and kind of make I don't. That's tough to describe.
We got robbed a little bit.
Yeah,
we got robbed. I know we got homered. That was Big Ten refs. Michigan State on the road. They're not gonna if they have the opportunity.
It was the announcers that I noticed it on the broadcast. We're definitely pro Michigan State a little bit.
Of
with the slides.
course, come on.
Yeah. So
we got to think about it like this, dude. We got to think about it like this. We're in an era now where schools like Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan, all the big schools, right? All the Power 5 schools, they have the money to recruit better players than we do. The portal and the NIL has completely changed it. A school like FAU, we need to develop players and be good and hope we can keep them, right? A school like Michigan State, God knows how much money they probably spent on their roster, and we lost by 6 points on the road. 6 points on the road, and our offense gave up most of our points. So it's a winnable game.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm having a moment here because it just was it was there. It was there.
It was.
Yeah.
It was there. And back in 2008, our opening game was against Texas. I know because I went. And we got killed. Like our quarterback Rusty Smith got carried off the field. Like it was like the opposite of what happened at Michigan State this past time. You know what I mean? So like to see that we're at the level where we're on the road competing against a school like Michigan State. I know they had it was rain and they had a freshman quarterback or whatever else, whatever kind of excuses they want to come up with, for them to, to justify losing by 6 at home or winning by 6 at home against a school the likes of FAU, like whatever. But we went there and we showed out. Our defense stood up. We could have won that game. A couple things here or there, like that could have went our way, and maybe the offense didn't give up a safety and the touchdown. But man, it was there, dude. It was there. You take that away, and we win that game.
I think. Well, with this week, I think the offense just finding a way to come out earlier will if the offense came out earlier in that, what I 100% think FAU probably would have won that game because the offense woke up in the second half. If they got the output they got in the first half, that they probably would have won that game. And I think that's something they're going to key out on is find a way to get that offense going early. But at the same time, they want to try to throw the ball and do all that and get the offense explosive. But you don't want to give Army the ball the whole time and let them institute their time of possession domination that they do. Oh. So what does FAU need to do really on either side of the ball to kind of balance that and get Army off track? Drew, what do you think?
Well, I mean, offensively, 3 and outs that'll screw you over. Early 3 and outs, early turnovers, it's going to kill you in any game, but this one more because your possessions are limited. So you do need to move the ball. You need to be able to score. And then, how you combat that is that, inevitably if Cam does throw a pick, if you get Army in 3rd and longs, that's, I don't want to say an automatic punt, but they can't really throw the ball. So 3rd and long, good luck with them converting, but you got to make the most out of your possessions. It's really hard to, if you're going to throw a pick first drive, now they take 5 minutes off the clock and score, then you go 3 and out. Now they're taking another 5 minutes off. Now the quarter's over and you had 2 possessions at most. So make the most out of your possessions, score. We need to be able to run the ball. I think that's going to be huge.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think we have to do what we did last week, just let the defense just absolutely dominate, just shut them down. If we could shut them down on the first and second play of the drive, like you said, they get a deep a deep 3rd down, like forget it. They're kicking. And I think it's important we score and we make them play our game. We don't go play their game. Our game is going to be like fast-paced offense, throwing the ball, just like kind of like high energy, exciting football. And they're going to try and slow it down and pound us. And we just can't let them get us into that funk and make us lazy, right? We got to keep the energy up and play our game and make them play our game too. And then I think I don't think we're going to have a problem with Army. And I'm not just being like a homer. I'm like actually like very, very confident in the team after seeing them go to Michigan State last week. I'm very, very confident. I think Army is going to have a big problem with us. This will not be their first AAC win, Robbie. This will not. This will be our first win of the season. And I think looking at the schedule moving forward, I think this might be, or at least it is, an opportunity for us to have our best start to a season ever this year. Just looking at the schedule, because we know next week is what, FIU, right?
FIU and then UConn and then Wagner.
And UConn, and we know UConn is ass, right?
Yep.
And then we come back for Wagner. So that's 3 and 1.
We should be favored in all of them.
I think we are. We are favored in all of them. We are.
That'd be 4 and 1, Mike. If they win this week, that'd be 4 and 1. UConn, FIU, Wagner, and then
what's after Wagner? Because that's
3. And then Army. Army would be 4.
Yeah, you're right. 4 and 1. 4 and 1. I can't remember a time we've ever gone 4 and 1. So
yeah,
that'd be incredible.
Yep. So that's what we talked about in the offseason. It's all there for it. This and UConn is the trap game, especially after seeing the loss of Reggie Peterson defensively for FIU. They're struggling. So
FIU, I can't wait for those 50
I think
points
these
on
I
FIU.
think the UConn and this game are really important for FAU to kind of get that momentum. Um, in this game, Omari Hayes had that big game in the first game. Had 5 catches for 75 yards. I think he's in for another dose this week of some, and I want to see him getting going early, both over the middle and in the screen game. Find ways to get him the ball. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Chisholm Ifeanyi had a big week off the edge. It doesn't show up a lot of times in the stat line, but him and Chris Jones were really in the backfield. I think neither of them had the sack. Devontae Davis had the sack, but both Chisholm and Chris had a couple pressures. And then for those into stats, according to PFF, Chisholm won 42% of his pass rush rates versus in true pass sets. So that's some words for those of you that are not into stats, but that's pretty solid. So according to PFF, Chiz had a good week in his first start, transfer from Shippensburg. So shout out to both of them. Look for both of them to continue to build on those big performances. And like Drew said, FAU definitely finding a run game, and like Mike said, offensive line improving as well. It's a chance for all of that this week versus Army. We shall see what happened. High noon from the Burrow. Tailgates will be going at 8 a.m. from Paradise. It'll be buzzing. If you're a wild one, go outside, catch Drew in the student lot. If you want some AC, go catch Mike at the Alumni Center. Follow us on
Stop by. I want to see
Owls
all the
Nest.
at the Alumni Center. We have a good time there, man. We got DJ Scoobs usually. There's like definitely some really cool food vendors, and there's air conditioning and bathrooms. How you gonna beat that, Drew? You can't even keep your shirt on out there. I bet it's so hot.
You have to make a walk.
Yep. And yeah, so I'm excited. I'm hoping 20, I think 25,000 with some and change will get you to the 6th most all time. Let's see it
Army's
this
gonna
week
be a draw.
in Paradise. Let's see it. We'll see if FAU can come out and put on a show for the fans in week 1. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Inside the Burrow. Make sure to tune in to FAU Owls Nest on a Saturday for all your game day coverage. For Drew Shula and Mike Birdman, I'm Robbie Listella. We'll see you next week.